the time.
Oh, great to talk to you. Love to see your Blu-ray collection behind you.
Yes, yes, big proponent of physical media here.
Yeah.
Jumping right to it, in the film, there's the four main children, and you get some pretty fantastic performances out of them, and they have to do some pretty crazy stuff. What was the process of finding and casting those kids?
It's like I kind of write myself into a corner because I don't think about the practical difficulties while I'm writing, to be creative and free. And then suddenly, oh, I've written a movie with four young kids in every scene and a cat, and what the hell am I going to do? You know, it's and then of course realism kicks in, and you know that if just one of those four kids is not great, the movie won't work. So we, with the producer, just said we need time to cast this. We spent over a year finding the kids, working with the kids, making them collaborators, learning them some tools, the craft of acting. So, and then just preparing them for what characters they're going to play and what situation there will be, and be like having a bond of trust and being transparent and never surprise them, and just creating a good vibe on set, and just focusing so much on that, you know. And that was the most important thing, to make it possible for them to be as good as they can be. And then we kind of over focused on some of those like traumatic scenes, and thinking that, oh, this will be hard for them, and maybe must be very careful. And then realizing that most of those scenes, they just had a lot of fun. You know, they thought that was great. They had no problems, no problem thinking that they could distinguish perfectly between fiction and reality. They've been role playing all their lives, probably why they're such good actors. You know, they and even the 7-year-old who plays Aisha, she was talking about her character's motivation like a professional actress. She wasn't, there were no confusion between like the fiction and what they were doing and themselves. And they're not method actors, you know, they don't have to be in the mood for an hour. We can just shoot a take for 20 seconds and they're like really scared and hyperventilating and traumatized, and then I say cut, and like cartwheels over to the sound guy making fun of him and going back, and I'm like, no, we need another take, and they go right back into that feeling, because they are great actors and they are kids, and kids can change emotions like that. It's one of the reasons they're fascinating to film and look at, is the way they change so quickly, you know, the mood and the feeling.
Being a father of young kids myself, it made it that much more stressful for me. Did being a father help inform when you were writing, or did you like add stuff and be like, no, I can't put that in there?
It definitely, I mean, I would never have made this movie if I hadn't become a father. It's just, I wouldn't be as interested in it, you know. My kids made me curious about childhood again, and about that closed off secret world they have that I can't really access, you know, even though I'm a father who's present and I talk to them and I try to be part of it, but there's so much they can't communicate, you know. There's so much they wouldn't even think about talking about, that they feel, and they feel stuff differently, they experience stuff differently. It's not the same world, you know, and that made me want to do it. And of course, having my kids around and the friends around would help me write child-like dialogue, and not just an idea of how kids talk, you know, from like an adult perspective, you know. So that made it easier in many ways, of course. But then again, you know, there's one character who, you know, doesn't end quite well for one of the girls. And in my first draft, I don't know if this is weird or not, I gave her the name of my daughter. Just because I didn't want it to be too easy for me to submit her to that. So it was very important to me, you know, to feel related to the characters the way I'm related to my kids.
Great, excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, Eskil. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for talking about the film.